let's move on to the South Florida housing market, which I found this very interesting because I've seen so many national reports how overall this is the most balanced the housing market has been nationally, again, in the last 5 years. And yet, according to Realtor.com, if you take into account the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach metro areas, it is the most unbalanced housing market in the entire country. Supply's up, as you have talked about many, many times. Supply is up nearly 10 months worth. And of course, the prices are falling. So yeah, it's brutal. Larry, for people who don't follow this stuff so closely, what do we need to know about the unbalanced housing market here?
Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, the housing market overall, let's go through some of their stats and like maybe we just comment on some things. I'm trying to pull up some stuff here right now so I can share, because this is actually, we're going to be doing a deep dive into this right here soon.
Oh, right. I got the
so like
market update coming up.
Yeah, next week expect a market update where we'll be super informed on stats, because as of today, the new stats are dropping and we usually give it a breather to make sure they get corrected properly. And so we're reporting on the right stuff. So we'll have the most recent stats, more recent than this report even will have that we're talking about right now. So the overall, when you compare South Florida to the national statistics, I mean, our month's supply of inventory or our absorption rate is like bananas high, which is very much so in the buyer's territory, buyer's market territory. So we're no longer in that seller's market range in South Florida. Now, the strength or the intensity of the market varies based on product type, right? Condo 55 and up for 200 grand is a terrible market, right? It's the worst, right? And then for like a 4-story condo building for 200 grand in a 55 and up community, it's a disaster. Okay. And then you have like varying levels of like what's better. So single family home, non-HOA community, maybe best right now, right? Especially if it's like a decent product, like if it's updated, renovated, or just newer, right? And so what we're seeing is that like broad like range of like, okay, well, we're competing, we have bidding wars and properties selling above asking in some cases. This is very rare now. This is like the 5%, 10% type scenario. And then you have like people that are like giving their condo away for less than they paid for it 3 years ago, for sure, right? And so you have this mixed environment. And then the cities, things vary based on city, things vary based on waterfront, not waterfront, seasonality, investment type product, not investment type product. Talk about like just workforce housing, apartment buildings for sale. Those things are selling at strong numbers. They're feeling some softness, but strong numbers. And then you talk about like just stuff that's like a condo again, where it's just terrible experience. So they say South Florida has a 9.7 months of housing supply, which is the highest in the nation. And for context, anything above a 6-month housing supply is considered buyer's market territory. So median list price is now $500,000, which is down 5.7% year over year. Okay, this is what we've been preaching since March. Prices are coming down. They're coming down. It's happening. It's not like
it had to at some point, right?
Yeah, and this isn't us predicting this. This is me saying this is the fact today. Like it's lower. Prices are lower. I can give you 10 examples of people whom we're selling homes for that bought their home in 22 and 23 that we cannot get the same price that they paid for the home today. Yeah. So if that's not a good enough story for you, I don't know what is, right? And this is, most of these people have invested 100 grand in their home and they still can't get the price they paid for it. We have multiple sellers that are coming to closing with checks or wiring money to title, the seller wiring money to title just to sell their home because they're, again, underwater to a degree on their home. Not underwater on their mortgage, but right. They're underwater. And so like they're just getting the project done, or they're just getting their home sold because they got to move on. And as time goes on and we continue to tick away, as the interest rates remain at 6.5, wherever we're at any given day, more and more people are less and less people have those 4% interest rates that are locking them in to making a move. And more and more people are having life events where even if they have the 4% interest rate, they're putting it on the market to sell because they have to move on to whatever new situation they're moving into. And so we have this crazy mix of investors, people relocating to the area, wealthy, workforce, blue collar people, and things are changing at the same time, from a macro perspective. So it's a weird place. It's a weird place to be in right now. It's funky, right? The market is funky.
Just in its own way, how once again South Florida's housing market seems to go against the grain of everything else, be it good or bad. I mean, I was just looking at an Associated Press article from the last couple of days about how, still, I think it was just over 50% of the country has that mortgage rate of 4% or lower. And I mean, but at the same time, I believe it's the most in the last 15 years of people accepting mortgage rates that are higher than 6. It was just a bunch of numbers like that. And just so when I hear about all these things, I'm just like, wow, because profit margins for house flippers were the lowest they've been in the last 17 years. I mean, just on and on and on.
We're in a correction, whether people want to believe it or not. We're in a correction. And the reality is that it's not this like catastrophic correction.
Yeah, nobody's losing their shirt like they were in 08, right?
Yeah, it's not like 40-50% of of the population is like really jammed over this. Values have somewhat remained decent. Things aren't crashing, and that's primarily due to supply and demand, right? So the supply in South Florida hasn't like exceeded the demand to a level that is catastrophic. The actual lack of supply is what's propping up prices right now, keeping them where they're at. If you add another 1,000 homes to the Boca Raton real estate market active listing, you're going to see prices soften more. And here's the kicker, guys. Every season, this season right now, September, October, for the past 2 years, we've seen inventory climb by the number I just described. And so we see that happen, and the demand hasn't bought the level of inventory back down to what it was before the season started. And that's what historically had happened.
Right.
Supply goes up, demand catches it and pushes it back down. And we live in this like same oscillating threshold. What we've seen over the past 2 or 3 years is supply goes up and demand hits during the winter, during the season, and it just levels it off. And then it lives there and it stays there. And then next season, supply goes up again and then demand levels off. So we've been seeing this steady increase, leveling off, increase, leveling off. And so most likely we will see that again this season. And again, post-COVID, the migration has slowed dramatically. So we're seeing less people, less demand in the South Florida market, which is affecting absorption of supply. That's why we see the absorption rate go from what once was less than a month to now almost 10 months. And so
I'm wondering how many more baby boomers have to retire, because I feel like that surge, I really don't know how many more at this point.
And so I think that's the thing that we all need to watch out for. The supply, if the supply comes up again, we will feel further softening in this market. And we're watching it. And this month is like the month we start seeing that typically. And so we'll see how this feels. October, November, and December are really going to tell the story of what's going on. I'm waiting for this to load here while we're talking. So,
You know, and I was actually on it earlier today, and I noticed it was going really slow. I don't think it's you, Larry.
I'm just pulling all South Florida right now for everyone's benefit. But you know what's interesting? If you just look at this data point, this is median days on market. You can kind of see where we're trending, right? This is a 2-year trend line, right? 2 years? Yeah. No. Yeah, a little bit, almost 2 years. So almost 2 years trend line of days on market. I'm trying to get September load. Yeah, it dipped down, and what that was. So this is what we tend to see, right? We see that dip during the season, February, so March, April dips because demand kind of picks up during that season, right? And then the summer hits and things start to climb. Okay, cool. Check this out. So this is great. So this is median, which is nice here. We're seeing a little bit of a dip. This is a good sign for the market, probably due to, interest rates moving down a little bit, a little bit of conviction on the real estate market in general. Let's see what inventory. This is like live, us messing around. I haven't looked at this. Oh, look at this. This is active listings on the market. So we've been trending in a very good direction, relatively speaking. This is all of South Florida. Mm-hmm. So, and you could see historically, we've seen things climb, right? See if I can do this 23. No, I'm going to mess it up if I do that. It'll take too long. So, but this is a positive signal right now.
Right.
So we'll see if inventory starts to climb again, but there's been like this revival of inventory coming down overall in the market in South Florida, which is kind of counterintuitive right now to what we're feeling. It's not necessarily true. Like the last month, the last 30 days or last few weeks have felt stronger than the previous 6 months. So
that's good.
For whatever that's worth.
Right.
It's coming from
it feels better. I mean, for what it's worth, I'm telling you, it feels better.
Now we're getting outside the stats and just talking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, you haven't made it this far without having some good gut instincts on these things.
Totally. So there's a chance we could roll into season and it be one of the better seasons we've had. After having,
I feel like the bar's getting set so low, it's going to happen eventually, right?
100%. So this might be the year that things kind of feel a little better. Don't forget last year was election year. So that was a little wonky. And so now we're kind of out of that. And so now we'll see see how things kind of shake out. TBD. I don't know the future.
That is interesting though. But I mean, looking at the number of listings going down, I know we've done several videos where you've seen it with sellers that are very unsatisfied with the offers they're getting, what they want to sell it for versus what a buyer's prepared to pay. And they just pulled off the market altogether. I mean, do you still think that's really influencing in what we were just looking at?
We have a number of people that are it's this number or bust. It's we're listed at this number. If we get it, we're doing the deal. If not, we just pull it off. We believe the future is going to be better, or we don't care, or we have it set up to rent, so we can just rent it and we'll wait until we get that number. So it's a little frustrating of a market to be in as a listing agent when you have those dynamics. It's not hey, we're selling and we're just going to sell it at the best price, right? It's not the world. 30-40% of the time it's, hey, we're selling and we're just selling at best price because this is a life event. We need to do what we need to do. Right. And then 60% of the time it's more this, we're going to delist if we can't get it done.
This is it, right? This is our second home or whatever.
Totally. So I just went through, before we jumped on this call, I just had a 2-hour call with another customer. He has 5 or 6 properties, whatever it is. And we went through each one of them and he had a strike price for each one of them. And we're trying to figure out which ones I believe we can hit the strike price on. And those are the ones we're going to sell first. And then, or that's my recommendation, at least. Let's sell the ones we know we can sell. And then play with the other ones later. Maybe you get lucky and the market moves up in your direction, which I don't necessarily believe is true, but that's that's a bet you can make. And so we just went through each one and we're like, okay, that one hit the strike price. This one hit the strike price. These three didn't. And so let's just list these two, or let's list them all. And if they hit our price, great. If not, we just won't sell this time around. We'll wait a year. So it's a thing. It's a thing. So, and you have a lot of that in South Florida. You have a lot of this, like, either second home, speculative buyer, investor type dynamic that, like, it just creates this wonky market that we just discussed. You got buyers.
Life events have no bearing.
Exactly. It's just like, you just have a mix. And then, to your point, you have the guys that, like, the market conditions don't even matter to them. Like, we're buying and selling because that's what we do and we have a bunch of money. And so that's another whole dynamic. It's just very mixed here.